Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a new feature from Zocialized that's trying to tackle a very modern problem in the world of online dating. Let's get right into it. You know that feeling, right? When finding a connection online starts to feel less like an adventure and more like a second job? It's just this repetitive, endless cycle of swiping left, swiping right. It's got a lot of us feeling pretty burned out and asking, isn't there a better way to do this?
Well, it turns out the socialized app Zocialized has been looking at this exact thing. In a new white paper, they've actually put a name to this feeling, calling it dating app burnout. And it's more than just being bored, It's a real sense of exhaustion with the whole process.
And the way they break it down is actually pretty insightful. They say this fatigue comes from the laser focus on individual profiles. You're forced to make hundreds of these tiny snap judgments based on a handful of pictures and a short bio. It just completely misses that organic, kind of spontaneous magic of meeting people in a real social setting.
So what's their big idea to fix this? Well, they're calling it the Zocialized Social Mixer. It's a brand new feature that's built from the ground up to create a more dynamic, low-pressure space that feels, well, more like a party and less like a job interview. The whole idea, the real core of it, is a huge shift in focus. Instead of you making that split-second decision on a static profile, the Mixer encourages you to join these themed group events. This way, you get to interact with a bunch of people at once, all in a setting that just feels way more natural.
And hey, this isn't just some concept on a whiteboard. Socialized is already hosting all kinds of events in big cities across the globe. We're talking a rooftop party in Montreal, a tech mixer in Tokyo, and even online stuff like a global cooking class you can join from your kitchen.
Okay, so the real-world events, that makes sense. But what about the virtual side of things? How does the tech actually make these online connections happen? Let's take a look under the hood.
So it all starts with this pretty powerful AI they call the Match IQ engine. What it does is analyze your interests, your personality, not to find you one perfect match, but to build entire themed events, like say a book club social. And then it intelligently puts you in virtual rooms where you've got the best shot at really clicking with someone. Then they use virtual and augmented reality to create these really cool immersive spaces. So just imagine joining a mixer that looks and feels like a Parisian cafe. The audio is proximity-based, which means you can literally drift from one conversation to another, just like you would at a real party.
And you know that moment, the awkward silence when no one knows what to say? Well, to stop that from happening, another AI called Love Coach jumps in. It suggests icebreaker questions that are actually relevant to the room's theme or what people there have in common, just to get the ball rolling.
So the tech sounds incredible, right? It's a huge vision. But what's it actually like for the people using it? Does the reality actually live up to the hype?
And this is where the story gets really complicated. The official pitch promises all these benefits, less pressure, better safety, but when you start reading what actual users are saying, a totally different picture emerges for some. We see complaints about glitches, a weirdly competitive vibe, and even some really serious safety issues.
I mean, for some people, it's a home run. Take Jared. He says the experience was exactly what was promised. A poetry prompt in one of the mixers sparked a conversation that turned into a real relationship. For him, it just worked. But then you get the complete opposite. Lena's one-star review points to a massive problem: no moderation. She ended up in a room with inappropriate stuff and no host to deal with it. And that just completely tanks the entire purpose of the feature.
Back on the positive side, you have users like Zoe who are just raving about how creative the themed events are. These mixers let people connect over things they're genuinely passionate about, which feels so much more active and real than just swiping on a profile.
And on the flip side, you have people like Kofi, who felt the whole setup is really built for extroverts. He said the group dynamic felt kind of cliquey, almost like a popularity contest, which can be really overwhelming if you're more introverted.
So when you actually look at the data and break down the reviews, a very clear picture starts to form. User opinion is split, right down the middle. You've got a whole bunch of glowing 5-star reviews, but also a really worrying number of 1- and 2-star disasters. It shows a feature that has amazing potential, but the execution is just all over the place.
Okay, so we've seen the tech, we've heard the promises, and we've read the very mixed reviews. So what are we supposed to make of all this? What's the big takeaway here?
Here's the bottom line. The social mixer is a really bold attempt to fix a problem that so many of us feel: swiping fatigue. It's trying to inject a human, social, and spontaneous element back into a process that, for many, has become pretty cold and lonely.
But this gets right to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? As all that user feedback shows so clearly, you can have the most advanced AI and VR in the world, but it means nothing if the basic human experience isn't right. The tech is only as good as the safe, inclusive, and well-moderated space it creates.
And all of this leaves us with a much bigger question about where this is all going. As we keep weaving technology deeper and deeper into our lives, into our search for love, we have to ask ourselves, can a high-tech connection ever really be a truly authentic one? That's definitely something to think about.